Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottinen from the Flourish Academy. This is episode 486. Today we're talking about pricing. I have an email here that I'm going to share with you from a client of mine. But before we get into that, make sure you check out the Flourish Academy membership. There are only a few days left to enroll, and then it won't be open again until later this fall. And one of the classes, there are 12 courses, and one of them is called Pricing for Profitability. Now, what makes my approach different to pricing is a couple of things. Number one, I believe that we are all operating what I call lifestyle businesses. Whether you are a hobbyist, aspiring professional, or a full-time professional, you can set up your pricing in a way that is profitable and makes sense for you. Therefore, there is no pricing model that is off the table. You can shoot and burn. You can have products. You can not have products. You can do hybrid models. You can have collections. You can do whatever you want. And I support that, as long as it is profitable. The other thing is that I spend a lot of time in the Pricing for Profitability course looking at the difference between the art and the science of pricing. Both are super important. So the science is fairly straightforward. It's numbers, it's a math game. What is profitable and what isn't in terms of your time, products, etc. But the art of pricing, that's where it gets really interesting because it's more than just numbers. And I think a lot of people get hung up on the numbers and they neglect the art, which is funny because we're artists. Okay, so you'll definitely want to check that out. I'll post a link below, but the Pricing for Profitability course has been a huge favorite among the members for those reasons that I mentioned. Okay. I got this email from actually someone who is in the Flourish Academy membership, and the subject of the email says, possible video for you. So she knew or was giving me an idea so that I could share this on video. So this is obviously client approved, although I'm not going to use her name because that doesn't make any sense. But I want to share this with you because I think this might surprise you. She is a new photographer. She's been a hobbyist for a little while. She just recently upgraded her gear and decided to start charging for sessions. And she's an aspiring professional. She wants to grow her business and she certainly wants to be profitable. So this is a senior session. I'm just going to kind of skip through some of it and read it to you. Okay. I met with a mom and daughter to show them the location that we would use for her senior session, and they loved it. Okay, so they looked around. Okay, so I get to the point we're standing there, and the daughter says, "Thank you so much for meeting us. I'm really excited about our session next month." So the photographer said, oh, and then the mom said, "Yeah, here's your $50 deposit for the session." The photographer then said, "Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, and if you could do me a favor and tell your friends if they're looking for a photographer to give me a call. Just mention me, etc." Which is smart. That's just good business. You should always don't assume people are going to promote you. Don't hope that they're going to promote you. Tell them to promote you. Usually they'll be happy to do it. Okay, so then the daughter says, "Oh, I've definitely been telling a lot of my friends about you. Your work is amazing." The mom says, this is all like scripted out. The mom says, "Hopefully some of my daughter's friends will book with you, but a lot of them think your work is not as good as the other local photographers because you're too cheap." And the photographer said, "My mouth dropped." And I thought, okay, she was like, holy crap. So I'm too cheap and that's why they're not booking. How do you even go about adjusting your senior session prices, but keep your family and children prices the same so your clients from one day can stay with you? Okay, to answer your question, you can have separate pricing for your families than your seniors. I mean, that's pretty straightforward and acceptable, right? There's no problem with having different price points. You could have on your website, senior prices start at X, family prices start at Y. There's no problem with that. And people will understand that there's going to be a difference between the sessions. So you can adjust anything you want, mostly because you're the boss of you. But more importantly, what's happening here is psychological. People are looking at your pricing and thinking you must not be any good because you are so cheap. So you're starting out. You don't want to charge too much. You want your price to match your work and your experience, which I completely respect, and I love that you are so responsible. But if you make it too inexpensive, people just might assume that you're not any good. Even if you're saying, hey, I'm just starting out and I'd like to get business, I would just really caution you with keeping your price low. Like, you think you're doing a good thing by serving people with a low price, you're actually not, because the transformation comes in the transaction. When people pay a lot for something, they expect it to be amazing, and you always get what you expect. Actually, in anything in life, if you expect something to go well for you, it will. So if a client expects that you are good because they paid a lot of money, those expectations will absolutely be met, because that's what they will be seeking. You get what you expect. I had brides hire me, and they said it literally straight to my face. I would say, oh, hey, how did you find me? Or why did you book? And they would say, I hired you because you're the most expensive. And I figured that must mean you're the best. And I was like, well, did you look at the photos at least and make sure that I fit your style and everything? I mean, they literally didn't care. They assumed that I was the best based on my pricing. They expected they would get amazing photos. So they did. They viewed them as amazing because that's what they expected. If someone thinks you are too cheap, then they are going to expect lesser quality images, and then that's what they're going to see. So it's almost, I mean, there's this whole idea of like reverse psychology in pricing, that the more expensive something is, the more beneficial it is, or the more value it has. When you could be brand new and charging a lot of money, you could be brand new and charging a little bit of money. I guess that's not reverse psychology. That's actual psychology. What do I know about psychology? I do read a lot of books on it because I studied it, because I know that people make buying decisions based on emotions, not on logic. You're trying to apply logic to your, oh my gosh, you guys, I go so deep in the pricing for profitability course for this, because you're trying to apply logic to your pricing, and that's not how people purchase. They purchase based on one thing: emotion, how it makes them feel. And some people are certainly price shopping because they have a budget. That's fine. But there are people out there that will not hire the cheapest, because then to them that means you're not worth it. So your low pricing that you think you're doing to get people in the door could be having the opposite of the intended effect. If you are a hobbyist and you want to make a little bit of money on the side, or if you are like this photographer, aspiring professional, or even if you are a professional and you want to make sure you're profitable, I cannot recommend the pricing for profitability course enough. And remember, I have all these courses in the Flourish Academy. They used to be sold separately, $1,500. Now you can pay a super low fee, $29 per month, to have access to them. And there's no commitment. So you watch the course, you're done, you can always cancel. Like, I am begging you to take that class so that you can start to understand the art and science of pricing, and you can be more profitable and feel good about it. And by the way, a hobbyist is legally allowed to earn money for the hobby according to the IRS. I talked about this in the live class the other day. If you go to the IRS website, you type in hobby versus business, you can see what that looks like. It's as straightforward as it can be for the IRS, which means it's a little bit gray, but you can make money from your hobby. And I talk about that in the course as well, because even if you're saying to me, because this is your excuse, oh, well, I'm just a hobbyist and I don't like money. I hate money. Okay, that's not what you're saying, but that's what I'm hearing. Because don't you like camera gear? And doesn't money give you options? So even if you consider yourself, I hate it, just a hobbyist, you could still make money so you could get more camera gear. That was always my intention. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I never intended to have a business. I just wanted more camera gear. Specifically, I wanted the Canon 70-200 2.8, and I didn't want to pay for it. So I was like, how can I charge my friends like $50, $100 here, make some money and buy that lens? That was always my approach. And then I raised my prices, and I raised my prices pretty quickly, pretty significantly, because I caught on to this emotion thing. And of course, I made sure that my work was in a point where it made sense. And so was my experience. I am not suggesting that a brand new photographer goes out there and charges thousands of dollars if they don't know how to take a photo that is sharp, in focus, and decently exposed. But I think you could possibly be underpricing yourself and therefore sending the wrong impression to potential clients. So it's just something to think about. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.